In the quiet mining village of Gelli, in the Rhondda Valley of South Wales, there lived a young woman named Muriel Drinkwater. It was 1921, a time of economic hardship in post-World War I Britain, particularly in the Welsh coal mining communities. Muriel was 16 years old, a promising young woman with her whole life ahead of her. She lived with her family in this close-knit community where everyone knew everyone else, and where the rhythms of life were dictated by the coal mines that dominated the landscape and the local economy. On the evening of June 17, 1921, Muriel Drinkwater left her home to walk through the village. It was a Friday night, and she was heading to visit a friend, or perhaps to attend a social gathering. The exact details of her destination would later become less important than what happened on her journey. The Rhondda Valley in summer held some beauty despite the industrial activity, and evening walks were not uncommon for young people in the community. However, Muriel never arrived at her destination. As darkness fell and the hours passed, her concerned family began to search for her. The alarm grew when there was no word from the young woman. By the following morning, it was clear that something terrible had happened. Muriel Drinkwater had been murdered. Muriel's body was discovered in a field near the village, and the cause of death was brutally apparent. She had been battered with a heavy object, her face severely injured. The crime was shocking to the small community, the kind of violent act that seemed almost unthinkable in a place where everyone knew each other. The police investigation began immediately, as detectives arrived from Cardiff to investigate what was clearly a serious crime. The police faced the typical challenges of a murder investigation in 1921. There were no eyewitnesses to the crime, no obvious suspects, and no clear motive. The community was shocked and frightened. A young woman had been murdered in their midst, and the killer remained unknown. Suspicion fell on various individuals, as it often does in small communities, where rumors and gossip can quickly spiral. However, suspicion alone was not evidence, and the investigators needed something concrete to solve the case. Today, more than a century later, Muriel Drinkwater is remembered not as a person who lived a full life, but as the victim of a crime that sparked a revolution in how crimes are investigated and solved. In the records of forensic science history, her name appears alongside innovations in criminal investigation. Yet it is important to remember that behind the historical significance, behind the forensic milestone, was a real young woman, a 16-year-old girl from a Welsh mining village who should have lived a full life, who should have had opportunities and experiences and a future. The Muriel Drinkwater case represents a turning point in criminal justice history, but it is also a poignant reminder of the human cost of violent crime. Her death led to developments that would benefit countless future investigations and help bring murderers to justice. Yet those developments could not save Muriel herself. She remains a tragic figure, a girl whose life ended too soon, but whose case opened a new chapter in the history of criminal investigation and scientific evidence. The story of Muriel Drinkwater is thus a story of both tragedy and progress, of a young woman whose murder, while a personal and community tragedy, became a catalyst for advancement in the pursuit of justice. In the annals of forensic science and criminal investigation, her name endures, a reminder of the power of science to illuminate truth and of the price that was paid for that illumination.